Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another Bitcoin update. Bitcoin's been stagnant for a while now. It's been in this same range here from around the 17th of March, so around just over 2 weeks in this same price region between 26.4k and 26.6k and around 28.8k, 2.2k range. Pretty boring price action. Obviously the volume has dropped off because of that. We've seen massive decreases in volume ever since the 17th of March, ever since we entered this range, ever since we entered above that pink line. Just huge drops off in volume, and that's generally bearish. You know, we've got a high price region here. We've broken above the old range, the old pink line at 26.6k. We've broken above 25.2k, which held us down since June 2022. I'm circling a few regions here. And now we're just above that, and we're just kind of chilling, really. I mean, not much is going on. It's just a very boring market right now, and as I said, that's why volume's dropping off. But ultimately, this consolidation will come to an end soon. We've got this yellow uptrending line which stems, and let me just remove a few things quickly so you can see it a bit more clearly here. We've got this yellow uptrending support line which stems from October 2022, October last year, about 6 months old worth of support there. That has been rejecting Bitcoin in various price regions and also offering support in various price regions. And this yellow line is compressing against 28.8k, right? This red line here, which is the next major resistance zone above us right now. In fact, that is the strongest resistance zones Bitcoin has faced for many, many years. If we flip over the weekly chart, we can see that perfectly articulated, right? Illustrated, I should say. 28.6k, 28.8k, same thing, just on different time frames, at a different level. Was basically the founding support zone, or the foundations, the base kind of foundations of the 2021 and 2020 bull market. As you can see, I'm circling a few regions here where it held for support, and right now it's acting as resistance. So very, very strong resistance, and it does make sense. You know, it's not abnormal at all for Bitcoin to be facing a bit of hardship, a bit of a challenge in getting above it right now. But I would like to remind people that this consolidation won't last forever. Of course, this yellow support line is compressing against that region, so eventually we will have to make a move, either up or downwards. And I want to remind people as well that even if we make a downwards move, it's not by any means over at all for Bitcoin. We have come a very long way. We are up from the lows at 15.4k. We are up around 88%. We've almost 2x'd, okay? So a little correction from one of the strongest resistance zones we've seen in years would not be the end of the world at all. The region I would like to see Bitcoin hold, and I've said this multiple times, is 25.2k. So long as we hold that level, and in fact, I'll show you why I say that. Delete everything. Let's look at that 25.2k level. That is basically the top of the range that we saw holding since June 2022. As long as we hold this green line, I'm very happy with the long-term Bitcoin structure. A lot of things have happened for Bitcoin that are very, very bullish on the macro. If you're not aware of them by now, you're living in a complete world of bias and you're living under a rock. There are many, many macro things that have happened that are extremely bullish. We've seen monthly chart breakouts above above resistance, I should say. I'll show you a few things now. Monthly chart breakouts above these two resistance lines, these green lines here that were previously resistance. We've seen monthly chart, I guess you could say, let's go ahead and bring them up actually. We've seen the RSI on the monthly chart, right, colliding and seeing a bullish cross with this yellow line here on the monthly chart. And that yellow line is the 14 moving average. Now, every time we've seen that before, okay, we've seen massive moves to the upside, aside from the fake outs during COVID, but even then, massive moves to the upside. And we're seeing it again here. The last 3 times that's occurred, we've seen moves upwards of 2,000% gains, okay? So we're seeing very, very strong macro signs. And that's only 2 things I've shown you, but there's many more. For example, weekly chart, we're holding this yellow line, yellow uptrending support line stemming from 8 years ago. We've broken above this pink wedge. You know, we've broken above 25.2. We've broken above all of our resistance in between 15.4 and where we are now at just below 28. So the macro is incredibly good, and all of that has happened, of course, in line with the 4-year cycle theory. It's just basically wondering what's going to happen in the next few days, I guess you could say. I would personally expect a move to occur this week. I think we're either going to move downwards below, move downwards below 26.6 or above 28.8 within the next week or so. I don't see it taking longer than that. It would be a bit absurd if it did. You don't generally see consolidation for even the amount of time we've seen now, so for it to go on longer would be insane. I've said before, I've said again, I'm not particularly confident enough in any particular bias in the short term to determine where we're going to go in the short term. I don't know where we're going to go in the short term. I don't know whether we'll break above 28.8k right now or whether we'll do it in 2 weeks or a month. I just know it's going to happen eventually, and I am macro bullish on Bitcoin. I do think the bottom is in. As for the next short-term move, I don't know. I have said multiple times, though, that when we do make a move, we can be breakout traders here. When we do make a move, when we close a 4-hourly candle above 28.8k for the first time out of these 3 attempts in which we got rejected, when we do that, then you can potentially look for long positions. Or when we do break down from this pink line at 26.6k, then you can enter for short positions. While we're in this range, okay, I would say that is a no trade zone, and I would not be touching Bitcoin. That's my personal opinion. I'm sticking to altcoins for this period of time. I don't think there's any clearly identifiable market pattern here that makes it easy to trade. Perhaps, maybe if you're really pushing it, you could argue it's some sort of ascending triangle formation. I guess you could argue it's an ascending wedge, but it's really just weak arguments all around the board. There's not many lines that are completely valid at this point in time. Not many lines that have been linear lines that have been retested enough to be completely valid. So I don't like the look of the short term in terms of tradability. I think it looks very uncertain. And that's what I'm going to stick by. I'm not going to make a decision or make a prediction just for the sake of it. If I think it's uncertain, I'm just going to say I don't know what's going to happen. And I don't know what's going to happen in the short term. We'll wait and see. But I do know eventually we will get above 28.8. And so long as we're above 25.2, doesn't really matter when that happens. The fact of the matter is it's very likely to happen. So hold 25.2 and we're all G, and eventually we'll get above 28.8. That's my view on the short term. I did want to kind of jump into a bit of the macro. This is a very complicated chart here, but bear with me. I'll explain it to you. We do have a few events coming up this month. It is the month of April, of course, April 3rd today. And, of course, we're heading into things like FOMC, and that's not in April. It's actually at the start of May. In 30 days, but it's getting close, and it is worth talking about because it's the foundations of a lot of the bearish argument are reliant upon interest rates decisions. And we've also got interest rates, not interest rates, we've got inflation rates, CPI coming up as well. Now this one here, okay, what I'm looking at is the chart that's showing you what inflation is likely to be 12 months from the current point. People are expecting inflation to be 4.2% at 12 months from the current point. And at the same time, we're looking to actually potentially even lower rates very, very shortly towards the end of this year or even the middle of this year, with the max rate, the maximum they've raised rates to could even be in already at the rate we're at right now. It's a 42% probability they don't raise rates any further. So what's that indicating is that it's indicating that basically the Federal Reserve is not going to be raising rates very, much higher. And it's indicating as well that even with the current rates we are at, it's likely that inflation will trend downwards over the course of the next year. So perhaps the top for interest rates is in, okay? And even if it's not, right, 42% chance it's in now. If it's not in now, it will be in June. At that point, we have a large chance, looking at around 42 plus 56, a 98% chance that rates will be peaked in June. So it's either in now or it's going to be in June at a 98% probability. So as of right now, we see rates in, the top for rates being in, or one more 25 basis point hike, and then it's in. That's very, 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 very likely. That's what the market is expecting. And so the bearish arguments fall apart because of that. And you might think, oh, why do they fall apart? Well, they fall apart because a lot of the bearish argument is predicated on the belief that Bitcoin will bottom out when rates top out. Now, Bitcoin is already 2x up from the lows, okay? And rates are indicating that they could even be topped out already, in which case the bearish argument is incorrect. What we've seen in the last cycle, what we saw in 2018, was that Bitcoin bottomed out on the same week that rates topped. Bitcoin then had a local top on the same week that rates started going down again, and Bitcoin bottomed out again on the same week that rates bottomed. So it was very reactive, and what that proves, Bitcoin was very reactive to the movement of interest rates in the past. Now people have taken that data, bears have taken that data, and they've said, Bitcoin's very reactive to the moves of rates in the past, therefore it's going to be very reactive to the moves of rates now. And so they've assumed that Bitcoin will not bottom out until rates top. But the problem with that now is that, well, Bitcoin's at 28k, and under that same assumption, you would be expecting Bitcoin to either have bottomed out or to bottom out between now and the start of June. In which case, if you're a bear and you believe in that argument, which is the most popular and the most strong bearish argument, by the way, if you're a bear, you basically believe that Bitcoin will drop all the way down back to 15k between now and the start of June. You believe Bitcoin will see a 50% correction between now and the start of June. I would argue that's extremely unlikely, okay? And it's very important to note, a 50% gain and a 50% correction are not the same thing. A 50% correction is much more dramatic than a 50% gain, okay? Very important people know that because people get confused and it's just a very simplistic thing. If you see a 50% correction, okay, from here to 15k, that's a much bigger move than if we saw a 50% gain from 28K to what, 42K. Much bigger move. Okay, half of Bitcoin's valuation is being cut off. Okay, it doesn't happen in 2 months. It takes a long period of time. In fact, if you want to look at it from this perspective, it took us from November 2021, okay, all the way down to November 2022 to see a 78% gain. Okay, it's only a little bit more than 50%, only 28% more. Okay, so you think we're going to see a 50% gain in 2 months? I don't know. It seems like you're mistaken at that point, especially considering the support we'd have to breach back down below to do that. Right? We have many support levels now, not just linear lines, not just like the horizontal levels. We have like 23K, 19.7K on the monthly chart. We've got this pink wedge. We've got this yellow uptrending 8-year, 10-year support line. We've got what? We've got bull market support band, 50-week SMA, 200-week SMA, 300-week SMA, 50-week EMA, Gaussian channel, Ikemoku cloud, bull market Bollinger Band center line. There's so many things that we would have to lose in order to drop down 50%. And for that to happen in 2 months, nah, man. That bearish argument is completely and utterly dead at this point in time. So if you're a bearish at this point, you need to be looking for a different argument that is not predicated on interest rates. And at this point in time, the 4-year cycle theory that I've stuck by relentlessly since the middle of 2021 has been proven correct. And we just need to do that last little hurdle, that last little jump. Once we get above 28.6, there's absolutely no bearish argument to be made. The bullish argument would be 100% confirmed, and the bottom would be 100% confirmed as well. Now, you could then extend the bearish argument to say that, okay, well, forget about interest rates in relation to Bitcoin. You could say, what about interest rates in relation to the S&P 500? And what about the S&P 500 in relation to Bitcoin? Now, the problem with that argument is the correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P 500 has been downtrending for 8 months, and the reverse correlation between Bitcoin and the DXY has been uptrending. So that's disconnecting, making Bitcoin more independent for the same period of time, about 8 months. Bitcoin is distancing itself dramatically from traditional markets. And even if traditional markets did go down further for new lows, which by the way is not certain at this point in time, for example, we've seen basically Bitcoin bottom out, the S&P 500 bottom out when rates start decreasing for the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 separate bear cycles in the S&P 500. And we're seeing interest rates almost start to decrease already. And the S&P 500 seems to be very far up from the lows, and it seems to show no signs of slowing down. The S&P's up from the lows around 17% here, so it's going very, very strongly. And it's been bottomed out, by the way, for almost 6 months. I don't know. I feel like the whole recession's going to drag Bitcoin down argument is dead and in the water by far. And even the whole S&P 500's going to crash argument as well is like, it's been 6 months since the S&P saw a bottom. Like, I'm not saying it's not going to go down further, but I'm just saying, like, at some point, you can't keep repeating the same narrative over and over and over again with no new evidence. You just kind of need to be a bit more reactive. I get kind of sick of people saying that. They say things like, oh, you're a sheep. You think Bitcoin's going to go up because of da-da-da. And it's like, mate, a sheep is the kind of person who would say the same, kind of quote for 18 months. Oh, S&P's going to drag down Bitcoin for 18 months straight with no adjustment to that quote at all based on no new data. That's something a sheep would do. I'm being reactive to the data. I'm actually changing my opinion based on the data. I feel like the whole recession kind of thing is getting to the point where it's just a bit of FUD. I'm not saying the recession is FUD, not at all. I'm just saying the whole, Bitcoin's going to get dragged down by the recession is FUD, especially considering what's happened recently with banking bailouts, right? We saw US government print the Federal Reserve print, I think it was $200 billion or something like that. It was a massive amount of money. They reversed the effects of 6 months of QT in basically a week of printing, right? And during that period of time where the economic situation looked much, much worse, it absolutely screwed the economy in a very bad way. Again, they reversed 6 months of QT in 2 weeks of printing. It's terrible, terrible stuff. During that period of time, Bitcoin pumped, okay? This is clear evidence that Bitcoin reacts positively to bad news to the traditional economy. So what's the argument people are making here? Bitcoin's going to get dragged down. Well, what about the evidence we've just seen in the last month where Bitcoin has gone up when stuff's looked bad in the economy? So it's clear here that Bitcoin is finally maturing and finally securing its path to be an independent asset. And people don't really understand that at this point in time. Obviously, it's not fully independent. Not at all. But I'm just saying, if it was so certain that Bitcoin would be dragged down by traditional markets, Bitcoin, like traditional markets, would react negatively to bad effects on the economy. And it didn't. It reacted positively. And during that period of time, it distanced itself for the furthest it's ever been away from traditional markets. It's made its most independent moves ever in the last few months, based on what's happened on the economy. So I don't know. I think Bitcoin's in a really good position, guys. I genuinely do. I think the long term looks very, very nice. If we want to bring up, 4-year cycle kind of stuff here, we can look at it. 4-year cycle, that's not the right chart. Let me just bring it up 1 second. I'll go to hold on 1 second, guys. 4-year cycle date range trend on Bitcoin, not based on price action particularly, not based on, price targets, but it's based on dates and it's based on days in between moves. It's got 5 micro trends within the trend. It's based on the presidential cycle theory as well. And as of right now, this is something that's valid until proven invalid. And at this point in time, it hasn't been proven invalid. And so it's predicted a Q4 bottom. It predicts the next bull market to top out in late Q4, in late 2025. And so at this point in time, this is what I'm sticking with. I don't see why I would break away from this. And this has always been my argument. It's a fundamental rule of investing. The trend is your friend until it ends. Once I see evidence that the 4-year cycle theory will be thrown out the window, once I see evidence that the 4-year cycle theory will become invalid, then I will throw it out and then I will look for a new argument and perhaps then I'll be bearish. At this point in time, as it has been for the last, 10 years, it's perfectly valid. And I don't like the idea that people have that based on speculative quotes, speculative statements like Bitcoin will be dragged down by traditional markets, they can throw out the strongest trend Bitcoin's ever had. Wait for it to be invalidated and then throw it out. What are you gaining by not doing that? What are you losing by not doing that? I have invalidation points. If I'm not going to wait for Bitcoin to go down to 15K before I sell, I'm already in the best position I can possibly be in, right? I've said at the start of this video, if Bitcoin drops below 25.2K, I'm not liking the look of Bitcoin anymore. Okay, I'm not liking the look of Bitcoin anymore. I perhaps look to sell and de-risk some of my Bitcoin. Okay, if we drop below 25.2K, that's when I'll look to de-risk my Bitcoin. Even at that point, the 4-year cycle theory is still valid. I'm not going to be holding my Bitcoin all the way down to 25.2 to 15K, sorry, to kind of just because I believe in 4-year cycle theory. I'm going to be de-risking much before that point. But the problem is the bearish people who stuck by that brainless quote for 18 months, recession's going to drag Bitcoin down, they're going to have to wait down until they get to 15K to buy because they're still bearish. So I'm in a much better position for following a trend that has been alive for 10 years, more than 10 years, just based on one of the fundamental rules of investing, which is invest with the trend until it ends, or, the trend is your friend until it ends, than people are who made this, so-called, free-thinking, statement about the recession dragging Bitcoin down. It's like, no, you're speculating harder than I am, my friend. And that's what I don't understand about the bearish people. They act like what they're doing is somehow based on more data than what I'm doing. It's like, no, you're speculating harder than what I am doing, how I am. And the evidence is clear behind that. The correlation between Bitcoin and the S&P shifts. It's not set in stone. So what you're doing is just as speculative, if not more speculative. And what you're doing has turned out to put you in a very, very unfavorable position now that Bitcoin is up almost 2x from the lows. So I think it's very good what we've done here. Wolfpack, I'm very proud of us. We've stuck by the 4-year cycle theory, and that's what you're meant to do. And if it got invalidated, if it turns out that I was wrong, which at this point in time, there's no evidence to say that I was wrong. Everything points to me being correct at this point. We've got one more hurdle at 28.6, and that's open season. But if we do go down, if we do crash down to 15K, randomly in the next 2 months, then I will stand here and I will proudly say that I believe what I did and the strategy I took was the best possible strategy we could have had. Everything in this market is about percentage chance. Nothing is certain. There's no certainty that the 4-year cycle theory will continue being valid, but there is a high probability of it. And if you're wrong, you can stick by what you did and you can say, okay, I was wrong. However, that was the best move we could have possibly made in the situation. That's exactly what the 4-year cycle is. And that's why I will continue on this YouTube channel to stick by the 4-year cycle theory brainlessly until it is invalid. Until it gets invalidated, I will stick by it. That does not mean I have to lose more money than anyone else because I still have TA. I still look at the short-term charts and I still trade based on that. I just have an overarching, encompassing view based on the 4-year cycle that supports it. So that's the video, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. I do want to talk about a few things, and this is very important as well. The VIP group's results for Q4 have been released. Okay, so this is, for Q1. From January to March, we released our VIP results for trade signals. We post trade signals every second day in the VIP group in Telegram. It's 100 USD for 3 months. Go ahead and check those results out if you're interested. We also have the BitGet exchange. You can trade on the BitGet exchange. You can sign up using my referral link for a 15% discount on fees for life using my referral link. You can do that in the description below. It's the best way to help the channel, and it's the best way to help yourself as a trader. 5 times lower fees than Binance, copy trading. They've got reserves information released, very safe exchange. They've got a protection fund, so you can make a claim to the protection fund and get reimbursed on your funds if something happens to the exchange. Best exchange in the market, in my opinion. Go ahead and sign up using my referral link. And then finally, guys, the Crypto Academy 10-unit Become a Trader course. If you want to learn how to trade, this is the place to do it. All the information is on the website. You can find a link to that in the description below. 10 units teaching people how to trade, 95 students, and you can email us here at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com if you're interested. Okay, guys, thank you for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.